All right, everybody, this is the third video in the MTurboReverb series. In this video, we're gonna check out the edit page and start actually writing our own reverb algorithms. I'm gonna give you a more or less just kind of general overview of what this plugin is capable inside of the edit page, and I'm sure it's gonna blow your mind. Links are in the description of this video. Go ahead and download your trial version so you can follow along with me because you don't wanna miss MTurboReverb. Let's go ahead and check out that edit page. All right, everybody, this is MTurboReverb, and right now we're just going to be focusing on the designer page. This is, in my opinion, where things get really, really crazy, and it's so awesome. If you're looking for control, as I said in the earlier videos, MTurboReverb has the ability to control it for you. Anything you want to do. Inside of here, we still got our metering systems. We've got modulation capabilities. We've got our compression metering. We can close out of there. We've got all of our parameters that are editable right here if we want them in one place. We've got all of the other options over here on the far right that we had before. And what's really, really cool is the designer module down here. Now we also have global controls, and this is going to control anything that we're creating inside of here. We're going to be able to control them with these controls like the dry, wet, the volume, and so on. And remember, we want to have our limiter enabled because once you start getting in here and tweaking stuff, things can get crazy. There's also a panic button which will just shut everything down if things are getting too out of control, right? Because if you type in the wrong algorithm, and I'm not trying to scare you here, but you can like really push your CPU. So you want to be careful, and the best thing to do is obviously read the manual because there are a number of syntactical things that you're going to want to know before jumping in, but don't let that stop you from getting in and messing with this thing. It's going to be so worth it in the end when you create your very own reverb. So what I've done here is just activated one late reflection module or tab. We can have up to 6, which means 6 different types of reverb happening from one source in parallel. And there's also 4 different early reflection sources. So just think about that for a second. So much. There's also dynamics module. If I turn it on, we can perform dynamics processing on the reverb tail. There's EQ. This is a left-right stereo EQ. If I put a knob in here, or a node in here rather, and just right click, I can process it as just left or just right, or left and right, essentially stereo. And I've got all my filter types and everything else right here. Same with the mid side. If I turn it on and add a module or a node, right click, I can go mid, just mid side, or just side. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm going to go ahead and deactivate those. That's not what we're going to focus on. What I want to focus on is just getting started with the algorithm down here. Inside of the designer panel, we've got an algorithm. If I go ahead and play the same drum loop as we had before, you can see that we're getting some really nifty delay. It sounds great, right? And if we want to just go ahead, and we've got so many different randomize buttons here. I can randomize right here. We can randomize right here. I can randomize the algorithm, which is going to randomize whatever's right here. And we're going to get into that in a second, what that is. Or we can randomize the parameters, which is everything down here. Everything is going to give you a new reverb / delay style sound. And it can get some really interesting results very easily, but I want to kind of show you how to start making stuff purposefully, right? So let's just go ahead and randomize the algorithm real quick and come in. So as you can see, really nifty stuff. So let's go ahead and delete everything and just type in R for a second for reverb. There we go. We got a very short reverb right there. If we want to type in D for delay, we're getting a delay. If I want to specify the time of the delay in milliseconds, I can go 100 milliseconds or 110. Let's just do 110 for now. I'm going to go ahead and close the parentheses. So you can see there, as I'm changing the number value here, the delay is actually being changed. And again, this number right here is in milliseconds. We can also put in comb filters if we wanted to. And the comb filters are automatically assigned to the length inside of the late reflections module up here, are these parameters. So that's awesome. We can also process things in parallel or in series, depending on how we want to do it. If I wanted to process a couple comb filters inside a parallel situation, I can just type P. And by the way, lowercase p, capital P, same thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put a bracket, C, semicolon C, close bracket. So we're getting some really cool results. So you can do this C, semicolon C, or in fact, you can come in and just type a number in front of the C. So if I type in 20 right here, 20C. So that's already sounding a lot better. So you can see that you really have to get in and start playing with all the different options you have in terms of algorithms and what's doing what to get some really great results. But we've only been doing this for a couple of minutes and we already hear a bunch of different stuff. And as I said before, we could do it in series too. So if we just change this P to an S, so you can hear the resonant sound right there. And by the way, we also have the ability to analyze the sound. If I open this up, it will give us the resonant information. It'll also give us the reflection information. So this is very handy. And you can also load up a comparison. So we can load up a different reverb to see how our reverb stacks up to that. Beyond giving you the ability to create your own reverb, it also gives you the ability to really analyze the reverb itself in so many different facets, so you can really hone in and get exactly what you're looking for. So a more complex reverb might be something like P bracket 4C, so parallel, 4 comb filters, semicolon, and then 2A, which is 2 all-pass filters or diffusers. Let's see what that sounds like. So that's super cool. Let's add, instead of 4, let's add 20 comb filters. So as you can see, we're getting quite crazy there. And again, we can randomize all of the parameters down here. Let's randomize the parameters and see what happens. So with this simple reverb algorithm and just randomizing the parameters, we can really start to get some interesting results easily. Awesome. So just imagine what's going to happen when you start adding other late reflection sources and early reflection sources and controlling the dynamics and the EQ and really just everything. So much possibility inside of this edit page with the designer module. I don't have enough time to teach you everything there is to know, but if you're interested in making your own sound that's a reverb that's truly yours, MTurboReverb is where it's at. And one other thing I want to point out before we end this tutorial, which is supposed to be just a basic introduction to the edit page, is if we go back out of the edit page and choose one of these algorithms like the creative wall dysmorphia, for example, we can edit this. So if I come into the edit page now, we can actually edit this algorithm for that preset. So if we're like, maybe we don't like the way those reflections are happening or anything like that, we can now jump into that specific algorithm and manipulate the algorithm in our own way to get exactly what we're looking for. So those are great starting points. So we've got those starting points there. We've got the random buttons. We've got these presets. If we want to choose one, again, we can still come into the edit page and edit each one of those as well. Just so much. Valhalla preset right here. We've got late reflection presets. So we've got presets just for the late reflections. We've probably got presets for the early reflections. Yep, right there. Boom, no problem. So anyway, I'm sure your mind is racing with the possibilities inside of MTurboReverb. I know that I'm going to spend as much time with this as I can over the holiday break coming up here because it's just so phenomenal. So anyway, that was a quick introduction to the MTurboReverb. Tons and tons and tons I didn't have time to cover, but look forward to those future videos. Go ahead into the description of this video, download your trial version to start getting your hands on this thing because it's that good. Anyway, I hope you learned something.